if this is okay, and I'm just kind of curious on the previous question that you those 4 things that were provably false.
Yes.
That were in the, and I'm just kind of curious. I know some of these guys, we've been following some of you guys. I'm curious if there's any national media who actually believe that they were wrong, that those mirrors.
Actually, it's a good question, Eddie. So Eddie's one of the, you guys are colleagues, 2 of the top state reps here, and I think that's a good thing to be curious about.
You know, as obnoxious as I find Vivek Ramaswamy, I actually think it's kind of endearing the way he pounds away at the media. They deserve it. They deserve it more. And no matter how much disdain you have for the American media, I assure you it is not enough. And guys like Vivek Ramaswamy and Donald Trump in 2016 are the guys that are kind of pointing this out, punching away at them. Ron DeSantis does a good job at that as well. But during a campaign stop in Iowa, Vivek Ramaswamy just absolutely kills these guys, and they have absolutely nothing to say about it. Just watch how he takes these losers down by asking them very simple questions like, do any of you feel bad that you promoted the Trump-Russia hoax? Did any of you apologize for that?
Just by show of hands, who here is willing to admit that the Trump-Russia collusion hoax was indeed incorrectly reported by the mainstream media? Is there anybody here able to admit that that was incorrect reporting?
It wouldn't be really appropriate for us to answer a question like that.
Why not? Why would that be inappropriate? I think it would be inappropriate. What's inappropriate is lying to the public.
We're doing our job asking you.
Was the public lied to, or did the media report on this set of facts that were provided?
So that's a fair question. I actually think that the public was lied to long after the media systematically still understood that this was the product of the Steele dossier. The Steele dossier was a piece of Russian disinformation provided by the Hillary Clinton campaign that was served up to the federal government as a basis for issuing a FISA warrant to then potentially infiltrate a member of the opposition party. If this was Bush and Cheney doing it to John Kerry, this would have been the stuff of scandal, impeachment, and worse. And yet, I think it was an intentional lie that the media said that account, which we now know to be true, was actually the Russian disinformation.
Of course, they have nothing to say about that because none of them did. He asked them about COVID-19 and how wrong they've been on a lot of that stuff. Do any of them feel bad that they got people fired from their jobs and ruined lives? No.
Just by show of hands, does anybody believe the media's reporting about the origin of COVID-19 ran flatly in face of the facts that you have a Wuhan Institute of Virology that was now the likely origin of the COVID-19 pandemic? You all said that it wasn't for a long time. By show of hands, was the Wuhan lab the likely origin of the COVID-19 pandemic? Everybody, media or not. So you have reported, the same media that has reported that the COVID-19 pandemic did not originate in a lab in Wuhan is willing to even say, unwilling to admit today.
The report came out in 2023, so I guess.
It was known that there was a Wuhan Institute of Virology where they were conducting gain-of-function research, the very city which was the origin of a global pandemic. And yet the media's explanation was that somehow it could have been any source other than actually having started in a lab. I just think that that's systematically unacceptable.
And of course they have no answer for that. And what about the Hunter Biden laptop? They were given plenty of opportunities to get that story right, and they still to this day are defending Hunter Biden and his corrupt father over those issues.
The Hunter Biden laptop. Is the Hunter Biden laptop story, as reported by the New York Post, which was shut down, had the Twitter account locked for anybody who is even sharing the story of the Hunter Biden laptop found on the eve of the last election? The media reported that it was Russian disinformation on the eve of that election. Does anyone here agree that the Hunter Biden laptop story, as reported by the New York Post, was indeed accurately reported and was not Russian disinformation, but was in fact a factually owned laptop of Hunter Biden? I mean, you got to, man.
They've been defending Biden and his corrupt crackhead son for how long on this issue? Yeah, that's right. For months and months and months and months and months and months. No, correction, years and years and years and years and years. And they show no sign of stopping. No, they don't. They actually seem to really enjoy talking about this laptop nonsense and the sense that it's never been proven and all this other stuff. They still haven't come around and said, yeah, we got that completely wrong. And they never, ever will, because the American media never has to atone for getting stories wrong. They just move on to the next slanderous slur that they're going to throw out there. They're going to suggest you're a white supremacist, that you're a racist, that you're an election denier, that you're all sorts of other things. And they're never going to let up. And when they're proven wrong, they will just drop it and move on to some other smear. And it's nice to see guys like Vivek Ramaswamy, as obnoxious as I find him, dropping a bomb on these guys.